Hello everyone, so I'm back with another YouTube video. This week I have my War League match of week 6 versus Marou13. I expect him to either be on Burn or Turbo. I know that he likes playing Turbo a lot and might suspect that my team would handle Burn very well. So I do mostly expect Turbo, but I still am going to suspect possible Burn. So I win the die roll, rock, paper, scissors, and I open pot, just use pot. There's a couple things you can do with this. There's like potential set Knight Assailant, but I think with Nobleman, I would rather just commit to the Sangan here. If I didn't have Nobleman, I would probably just do Knight Assailant and Jar of Greed. But with the Nobleman, I would prefer Sangan, Jar of Greed. There's also whether you want to summon or set Sangan. I think with this hand, I would prefer to just set it. Plus, who knows if he's ever on Warrior sometimes, that will play into the Sangan. There's also some worlds where they open hands that can go like Rigeki Break on the first set to try and stop me from getting back pot. Although I believe him to be a Wing Blast user. So he goes and uses Knock. Then plays Duo. I think about this for a second, because I could change our Greed. Obviously, I don't want him to hit Nobleman, and I don't particularly care about the other cards. But I think Jar Greed trying to find a flip is also not a bad idea. But really just to protect the Nobleman more. So he hits Knight Assailant. I obviously just pitch the Serpent. So he also has pot. Sets a monster, passes, I draw card D, take the Serp. Let's see here. So, suspecting Turbo most likely at this point, since Burn doesn't really play Knock in the main. So, I definitely want to use card destruction this turn. Because if I don't use card destruction, what will my play look like? It would be something like Knock, and then something like Summon Breaker, swing for 19. Then he goes like Tsukiyomi and potentially draws Thunder Dragon, and I lose the game because I can't card D anymore. So the best play is just going to be card D on this turn in some way. The question is whether you want to do it before Knock or after Knock. Or rather, do you want to set Knock or activate Knock? So he does have the good stuff in Grave, so his set could possibly be Faith. And obviously I have a pot in Grave, so I would want to draw Faith off of my card D. However, I decide that it's most of the time it's going to be Spy, and a situation where I use card D and draw some spies and then knock Spy is just completely terrible, so I have to use Knock. And it is the Spy, fortunately. Use the card D. So let's look at what I discard from him. I do get rid of Light Dark, so possible BLS is now alive. I do get rid of Heavy Storm, which is nice to see, because now I can just set everything. Though I still have to worry about the one remaining faith. Anyway, I draw some good stuff. I have stuff to draw. Just use Upstart, which finds Tribe. I have a Serpent engraved, so that's live if necessary. But play here is just pretty obvious. Set to Koichi and Jar. Duo is already gone, so I don't have to worry about setting the Snatch. So unfortunately he does have the BLS. Fortunately for me, I have a couple answers to it with Tribe and Snatch, and Jar Greek could find others. He sets 3 back rows, and I do suspect that his list has 2 Death Shoots in the main just from seeing replays of his in the past. So I definitely don't want to play into Death Shoot here and have him spin the Tribe. Plus, for turn I drew Night Assailant, so that's a discard for Tribe since I have another Night Assailant engraved. So that was kind of a perfect draw. So the question is, how do you want to do this? Do you want to use Snatch? Do you want to use Tribe? And I decide on Tribe if he goes for Solemn. Then I just Snatch. I think that's the better way. If there's like Book of Moon, I don't know if he plays Book of Moon or not, but let's say I Snatch, he books, and then I have to summon Tribe and attack, and that could easily be stopped by something like Ring. If I were to go Tribe first, he books, I then attack, and then he stops that. Next turn he'll flip BLS attack, I'll take 3,000, and then I'll still have Snatch the following turn. I have plenty of life points to deal with that. That's just for the Book of Moon scenario. So he doesn't use anything, and I just swing for... Oh yeah, I'm going to use Jar first. I still want to be playing around Death Shoot for now. So when I use this Jar, if I draw a monster, I'm going to commit to setting Snatch. I swing for 16. I'm just going to set... I'm going to set both cards here because I would like to take back my Serp next turn. So he has Tsukiyomi, and I just have to use Regeki Break on this. If you think about, like, if I allow it, where do I go from there exactly? I don't really have any pressure. Yeah, I just don't see any reason not to Regeki Break this. Plus, forcing him to continue dealing with this 1600. It could be putting on a lot of pressure if he has, like, if these back rows aren't really very good, / multiple Death Shoots or something. I flip, he allows. He was possibly thinking about Torrential. Possibly also bluffing a Torrential. He's a good player, so he would probably also bluff in that situation. Main phase 2. Again, I still want to keep playing around Death Shoot, so I'm going to want to set one of these, so which one is better to set? So let's see now. BLS is gone, Sork is gone, so what does his deck have left? It has one more Sork, which is not something I'm really worried about. I have Snatch face down. Cards I am worried about are the other Magician of Faith, possibly Dekoichi's. So I'm going to set this Night Assailant so that if you draw something like Dekoichi or Faith, I could just flip, kill, and just continue pushing this damage through. Yeah, and plus there's no real reason to set the Serpent over this. Serpent is also an infinite discard outlet, the same as Night Assailant. I draw Mirror Force. So this seems to be going pretty good here with this tribe. It's now getting 4,800 in all by itself, which is excellent. Again, still playing around Dust Shoot, so setting Mirror Force plus no reason, plus Heavy Storm's gone anyway. He goes for a set monster. I draw BLS. And we just flip the Night Assailant now. And now he flips the Torrential. So if he had Torrentialed all those turns ago, he would have saved almost 5,000 life points at this point. So something to note for him. And here again, you don't necessarily have to play around Dust Shoot here, but it would be really unfortunate to like pass here, draw the Thunder Dragon, get Dust Shooted, and then just be left with double dead chaos. So I'm going to want to commit the Serpent, and if I draw Thunder Dragon, I can like tribute the Serpent, so that's still pretty good. Plus getting both Chaos Live if that happens. And I do realize I'm losing my infinite discard outlet, but at the same time, Thunder Dragons are also stuff that I could use for my future, like Gracefuls, Regeki Break. So yeah, I'm going to set Serp. Was it an option to summon the Serp? No, because he still has one Chaos Sorcerer. And the 300 isn't very impactful right now. I draw Jar of Greed. I set Jar of Greed and end. Okay, he uses Wing Blast. The reason he would be doing this is because I shuffled my hand for turn, so he could think that I maybe have the Sinister still in my hand, and I set the Magician of Faith, trying to win the game with Pot of Greed right now. So he wants to just delay this for a bit. I set the Jar of Greed and pass. He takes back Serp. Sets a monster. I draw Serp. So here I could use Jar of Greed, but obviously I'm still worried about Dust Shoot. And how this was played, I'm fairly very, very certain that there's at least one Dust Shoot back there. So how would I have to do it if I did want to use Jar of Greed? I would have to set Serp, then use Jar. But if that draws a monster, I'm just getting Dust Shooted the turn after, because I won't be able to set another card. Another option I could do is Jar now into Thunder Dragon, hold priority, discard it, but then he's still going to Dust Shoot away my BLS by the end of that, unless I were to priority discard all 3 Thunder Dragons one at a time, which is not something I really want to do. So set Serpent, pass is my play. Obviously this set of his could be the second Faith, but there's not much I can do. And that was actually also one thing I was thinking, because his Faith could grab Duo, it could grab Pot, it could grab Heavy, and I was obviously, if he were to Duo my Sorcerer and BLS, that would be really bad for me. But I do have this Jar of Greed that I could chain to Duo and ideally save my BLS, but at least it would save one of the 2 Chaos. Plus, I could still have Serpent in my hand. So this would make him lean towards either heavy or pot or even the nobleman on a possible faith of mine. So I'm not that worried that he'll get duo. So I'm cool just setting the SERP. He flips up Sangan and swings. And then sets a monster, uses Thunder Dragon. Now, note that if he's using Thunder Dragon right now, it means he drew Thunder Dragon for turn. Unless he held last turn, but why would he do that? So this set here, I now have as Sinister. Almost for sure. Yeah. So now I draw the Thunder Dragon. Obviously not taking back Serpent. I've been playing around Dushoot this whole time. Not gonna play into it now. So now we have to think about the play. What is the actual play here? Obviously there are some lines where I could go for an OTK shot, but I can't like put both cards to be Dushoot. I have to like think that one of them is a dead shoot and the other maybe is something like a ring. Would ring even stop the OTK? Not if I commit snatch. Right? But there's no way I do that. There's no way I just summon everything, swing into Mirror Force, and just lose the game. That would be terrible. Plus, I know his hand isn't. Yeah, I know his hand is just 2 Thunder Dragons. I suspect 1 dead shoot, so I'm doing pretty fine here. All my cards are live. So I'm going to start by doing Thunder Dragon, getting 1 Thunder Dragon, and then doing that again. And then I'm just going to summon. I think the best play is just playing this slow. I have a big advantage on him. Just go Sorcerer, Banish. I suspect this set is Serpent, so I'm not in a position where I want to commit BLS and banish the set to be... Because I'm not scared of Faith here. I'm just expecting Serpent. So I do this, banish Sangan. And now I have the option of potentially using the jar. What is the reasoning for holding jar is the question. Because in this spot, I haven't committed my normal summon yet, so if I draw a flip, I can just set it. If I draw a spell or trap, I can just set it to the back row. I'm not sure here. Looking back, I probably should use the jar, but I don't. I just pass here. That might have been a mistake. So he goes, plays Breaker. I don't have anything to chain to it, so I just let him choose one. And he chooses the Jar of Greed. I thought for a second about potentially not chaining this Jar of Greed, just because I'm playing into Dushoot and I'm going to lose BLS to it, but there's just no way I don't chain Jar of Greed here. I'll still be fine, most likely, even without my BLS. Like, I still have Snatch, I still have Mirror Force, I still have a SERP coming back. Okay, so he now has his third Chaos, Chaos Sorcerer. Swings for 16. Obviously not Mirror Forcing that. I draw Torrential, and he Dushoots. I say no response. It looks like he doesn't want to chain a second Dushoot. He sends away the BLS. And I just bring back the Serp now, and he has another Dust Shoot, which was definitely something I was thinking about, that both his back rows were Dust Shoot. So if I did go for the OTK last turn, I would have gone through, but again, it's really not something I had to risk. I have a very easy comeback to this. I know his hand is 2 Thunder Dragons, so I'm going to snatch the Sorcerer, for sure. And then I have to think about my next play, right? Do I want to, like, attack Breaker? Let's see what he has left. So he doesn't have Breaker. He doesn't have Heavy Storm. There is potentially an MST if he plays that in the main deck. That's pretty much it. That could stop the Sorcerer. That could, like... The thing is, I like my other play more. And the other play is to banish Breaker, tribute for Thunder Dragon, Nobleman the Serpent, swing for 16, dropping him to exactly 16. And he has to draw something or he dies. Also, even if he doesn't die next turn, how can he win the game? He doesn't have Breaker. He doesn't have any Chaos. I have Mirror Force Torrential anyway. I still have the BLS in my deck. So yeah, I think this is the best play. And set the Torrential. He goes. Does he draw anything to save him? He does. He draws Thunder Snatch. He attacks. I could use Mirror Force here, but you also don't really see that much of a reason to. Instead, I'm just going to force him to tribute for Thunder Dragon. So I draw Upstart, which is an interesting one, for sure. I could Upstart and draw BLS. That ends the game. However, I do still have the Ring in my deck. So him being on exactly 16 is kind of important. However, next turn if he flips Thunder Dragon, I'm going to Mirror Force it anyway. So I'm probably not going to see that that ring on the 1600 Thunder Dragon regardless. So I think just using the Upstart now, and I'm not that worried about being decked out because obviously I still have the BLS in deck. So I do draw a ring, and I just decide to hold it in hand, and the reasoning for that is because he still has the 1 Faith in deck. So if he were to draw Faith, he can set Faith, keep the Thunder Dragon set, and or he could flip Thunder Dragon, whatever. But regardless, he can do the Faith, wait till next turn, get the Heavy Storm, and now I lose my ring, which could potentially be a win condition in this game, and it's perfectly fine just sitting in my hand for now. No reason to take any risks like that. So he flips, tries to swing. Remember that he knows I have Torrential, so I actually have to think whether I should use the Torrential and keep my Mirror Force that is unknown, or use the Mirror Force and keep the known Torrential. And I still decide to keep the better card, which is obviously Torrential. So I'm going to use Mirror Force here, and the reason Torrential is the better card is because I can do stuff like Summon Serp, Torrential your set monsters like the Faith. I draw Serp. Play is pretty clear, just set Serp pass. He flips Knight, destroys Serp, tributes for Thunder Dragon, And I just torrential here. Remember that all his chaos is gone, so he has no real way to deal my final 4,800 life. He has one tribe in deck. That's really it. Let's see. Koichi's maybe? No. He maybe has one more Koichi. One more Koichi and one tribe. One Koichi, one tribe. So I take back my Serp. And at this point, I decide the lower I can get his life points, the better for my ring. And even if he draws tribe, the most that'll do is I take 1,300, which is not relevant. So I do that. And I actually just pass turn here, which seems kind of crazy when you look at it, but what can he do? All he can do is draw tribe and swing for 13. I'll still be on 35. Next turn I'd be taking Serpent and walling with Serpent. So yeah. Unless the back row is like knock or something. So I draw BLS. And so I have to decide whether I want to summon BLS. Let's see his graveyard. So if his back row is ring, he loses. If his back row is a bluff, he loses. If his back row is Mirror Force, he doesn't lose. And let's see what kind of threats I have remaining in deck. My Breaker's gone. BLS is my third Chaos. My Spies are gone. My only threat remaining in deck is exactly a Dekoichi. So I have to be very careful, because if I summon this BLS and swing into Mirror Force, there's some drawouts where I just am not able to deal the life points. So what do I do instead? Instead, I'm just going to swing for 300, because damage is still very important. And the plan is going to be to set these two back rows. I set both because of potential MST. And next turn, I will summon BLS. If he Mirror Forces, I ring and just win. That's the plan. He draws Graceful, or he already had Graceful. Actually, wait. No, his hand was just Thunder Dragon, which is why I held Duo. He discards Upstart Card D. Funnily enough, this card destruction could have been potentially good, but there's no way for him to expect my hand is BLS. So he goes for the tribe attacks, and I am fine taking the 13. My plan is still going to be for the BLS. I'm just going to use Charity here. Now I have to think. Let's see, his deck still has one knock. So I'm not that secure that my faith will resolve. Regardless, I'm throwing away Sinister and Faith. I don't think there's much else to really think about there, because I just have infinite Regeki breaks here with Serps. And now I'm just going to go for the BLS. Unfortunately, he has Solemn, which does stop that. And I could just ring right now, but it is possible for the back row to be Book of Moon, right? So what am I going to do instead? I could either set Regeki Break, set one Regeki Break. In his draw phase, I could Regeki Break his back row, and then use Ring after that. However, what if his back row is not Book of Moon, and the card he draws is Book of Moon? And then he uses his drawn book to stop my ring. Well, in that case, I would still win because I would not use Ring right away. He would attack me for 16, and he would either set book or hold book, and he loses either way. So yeah, basically this is just deciding between two winning lines. There's actually one line that I was scared of here, and that's if he goes Tribe to call Aqua, and then I chain Ring, and then he chains Book. I was a little scared of that, but I should still end up winning even in that scenario because I'll just go Regeki Break and then start swinging in for 300 or just draw the Koichi I'm missing, which would win. He just sets a monster, I draw MST, and that's going to be game. I use Regeki Break instead of the MST, so he doesn't know that I'm meaning MST. Alright, so on to game 2. He starts with a set monster and a back row. So I'm always using Nobleman here. Question is, there's like I thought for a second about whether I want to take this hand and just swing with everything. So I could go like summon Koichi, use Nobleman, attack. And then he can either, like, if he swings over that with something, I can summon Tribe, kill, attack. And then at some point I could also summon Breaker, attack. And if he, like, sets Spy after this to Koichi, I can, I still have Tribe for that. However, I decide that that's a bit of an ambitious line, and my hand plays, it's kind of a hand that could do both. It could take the full aggressive line that just destroys hands that are filled with Nox and Minecons and Chaos monsters, but I can also just play the defensive line very easily too, because I have 3 sets and even the Serp that can be used as bait. Those are just things that you should be thinking about. Like, maybe if this Faith were something offensive, I would be committing to that full-on offensive rush. Instead I go for the defensive line. Just use Nox, set to Koichi. No real reason to set Faith first here. I'd just be losing my light for no real reason. Potentially Minecon, which lets him get back Minecon, and then I have really awkward scenarios. He goes Wing Blast to spin. Sets a monster. Obviously this could be Spy, so I could Tribe attack, pitch Serpent. However, if it's Spy, he's still going to flip it and just swing on my Koichi, and then next turn I could just go Tribe. So no reason to force that one. So he does the Spy thing, and that sets another monster. I draw Ring and Torrential. Yeah, there's So no real options here. Just go tribe, destroy the spies. There was one thing you could do here. I could just like swing into the set monster because the Night Assailants are gone and he never sets Tsukiyomi. Unless he's trying to bait Minecon, but no, he would still just summon Suk, I think. Yeah. In any case, I just did that, and then swing into Golem. And now main phase 2, I have a real decision. Let's look at my graveyard. So first I have to decide, do I want to use Tribe's Effect to destroy Golem? And if I do, which card is best to discard? And also, if I don't, what are lines that he can use that punish me not using Tribe's Effect? Okay, so obviously discarding Faith is tempting. It would give me Light Dark. However, it would kind of remove my ability to set monsters on future turns. Like I would like to have a thing where I go bring back Serp, set Faith, and those kind of things. But once I get rid of the Faith, I don't really have that anymore. So obviously, the benefit to just passing here with the tribe and, you know, I'll say ring for protection is he has to do something. If he does nothing, I'll just take back my Serp and get a free +1 destroying the Golem, right? So cards you could use are like Tsukiyomi, which would destroy this. However, I have Ring to destroy Tsukiyomi. Other things he can do are Breaker. However, again, Ring destroys Breaker. Another one is Snatch. What do I have for Snatch? I have Breaker. Destroy Snatch, and then just completely destroy his field. So what actually punishes me? There isn't that much, actually. And also, even if he were to get rid of the tribe, I can still summon Breaker and swing over it. So over the Golem. Or do something like, I don't know, Serpent TT to destroy some boards. So I end up deciding I'm not going to waste any of these cards to destroy the Golem. Instead, I'm just going to set Ring and pass. Force him to do something. Or else I'm just going to take back Serpent and plus for free. He goes Upstart. So he elects to use Golem's effect to go face down. And then flips it to put Tribe back in my hand. Swings for 8. Sets a monster, passes. So this tells me that he didn't really have any other good ways to get rid of Tribe, and he was going to lose his Golem anyway, so this was the best thing he could do to maximize the value he's going to get out of this Golem. So I take back the Serp, and it's going to be between two options here. It's going to be I either Tribe, pitch the Serpent, destroy the Golem, swing into the set monster. If that is something that draws cards or searches deck, I get full value from the Dust Shoot next turn. The other thing you can do is summon Breaker, swing into the Golem. And the reason you might want to do this is because that allows me to hold Tribe in hand, right? But some of that play can obviously be punished if he has Snatch. And then I would be in really awkward situations with this Ring. I'd have to like ring the Breaker, and that's really not where I want to be. And so I decide I'm just going to use the Tribe. I still have enough removal with the ring, the torrential, plus the dust shoot. And even some defense with like Serp, Faith. So I'm not that worried about having like the piece of removal and tribe in hand. So I swing into his set monster, which was Sangan, which finds Sook, which is very, it's a nice play by him. Like that's how he planned his turn. He expected that exact thing to happen. And I now flip up the dust shoot. Let's look at the hand. So he has Heavy, Serpent, Sook, Sorcerer, BLS, and Knock. Now, so let's see. Obviously the Heavy in his hand makes things kind of weird here. Because if he doesn't have Heavy, I can send back Sook, and then his hand is just dead. Well, not dead. He could like set Serpent to block me, but I would like summon Serp probably to like swing. But that's not anywhere that I actually want to be. I would probably actually like set Faith to make him knock Faith to lose his lights. However, if he were to draw Thunder Dragon with this hand, think about that. I would just lose, right? Because there's no way I can handle Heavy plus Chaos Sorcerer plus BLS. So the only choice here is just his BLS. Just because if things go wrong, I would just lose. If he were to draw Thunder Dragon with only Sorcerer in hand, I'm still okay. I can come back from that. So that's my play. And now here he decides he's gonna be really greedy and save his Heavy Storm, and he's just gonna get super punished. I think he probably just had to use the Heavy Storm. Like, there's no shot I have Jar of Greed. I don't really hold Jar of Greed like that. Very rarely, at least. He just wanted to like save this Heavy Storm, Thunder Dragon, Chaos Sorcerer play, which is just not even that good. Main phase 2, he has another decision. He could use Knock on Tribe. He likes to keep the Knock, which is understandable. On this turn now, I have something to think about. So, on paper, you just like flip Tribe, summon Sangan, right? Autopilot. That's the autopilot play, without thinking about anything. However, what happens when he draws Thunder Dragon? He special summon. He uses Heavy to destroy my Torrential, uses Thunder Dragon, Sorks my Tribe, and then my Sangan is sitting there just going to die. That would be really bad. So there are things I could do with like flip Tribe, attack for 16. Maybe set the Faith, make him knock it so that he loses his lights, so that all he can draw is his 3 Thunder Dragons. That's certainly something you can do. But there's like a hidden line here. What is it exactly? What if we flip Tribe and summon Breaker? If you notice, his life points are 6,900. 16 plus 19 is 35. That brings him down to 34. So now, if he draws Thunder Dragon, that is still going to punish this. However, his hand kind of just it kind of, how do you say, it kind of has an answer for everything I do. So this play gives him like the least amount of time. It's like, you better draw something right now, and it better be good. And sure, if he draws Thunder Dragon, I'll just have to do some defensive stuff on following turns, and I'm sure I'll still probably win even after that. And I don't set Torrential because I don't really feel I need to. Alright, so draw your card. He sets monster and sets 3 back row. Okay. So once he sets 3 back row, I know his monster is Serpent. There is like a part of me that's thinking this is some kind of bluff. He really doesn't want to just die. So I'm thinking it's possible I could just summon Sangan and swing with everything. Swing for the fences, deal 35, and win the game. But that's way too reckless in a game that I'm pretty far ahead in. I'm just going to take my plus with Breaker. And remember, the 2 of the cards are Heavy Storm and Knock. So hitting either of those is really nice. Okay, Heavy Storm's gone. So now my Torrential suddenly becomes viable to use. And I still am going to summon Sangan here. And just go for the damage. He does have Mirror Force, but that's fine. It's going to be between Tsukuyomi and Spy here. And I decide that Spy is more valuable. Just because it's something that I could potentially summon, swing for 12 if I want to. Yeah, that's really just it. I'd rather have more flips instead of like a Tsukuyomi. That doesn't really do much. And now I set the Torrential. I know his set is Serpent, I know his hand is Sorcerer, and I know his back row is Knock. He goes for Tribe Summon, which is a bit aggressive from him. Right? Because he could just like sit there with Tribe Sorcerer. Yeah, I think it's a bit optimistic of him to think that next turn he's just going to go, I'm going to set a monster, he's going to knock it, he's going to swing for another 16. Yeah, it's a bit optimistic. I feel like this is a card that he should probably hold. I have to think of Torrential here, and I do decide to just use it. I think this is the best value I'm going to get out of Torrential. And I draw Duo. I know his hand is Sorcerer. And I don't really see a reason to use the Duo. Yeah, it is possible that he can draw Thunder Dragon. He can slam Sorcerer. And he can knock my guy. That is for sure possible. However, my plan is going to be to set the Duo and set Magician of Faith. And I feel I can get better value on some runouts with the Duo. And like, into one back row, like how does he really feel about summoning Chaos Sorcerer just swinging blindly for 23? Probably not that good. He would probably do something like set Serpent and maybe try to tribute that off for a Thunder Dragon. In any case, my plan is to get this Faith knocked so that I can remove his Faiths, leaving him with only Thunder Dragons for lights. He draws Duo for turn. Pitches my Spy. I discard the Serp. He Noblemans my Faith, and he loses his Faiths. So his only lights now are the Thunder Dragons. and BLS. I tell him I have no more faith in my deck. I draw Sook, I take back Serp, and I know his monster is Serp. Again, I still feel I can get better value off Duo later on. I want to just set faith here. If he draws Thunder Dragon, what happens exactly? He could potentially tribute his Serpent, he could potentially summon Chaos Sorcerer next to that and just swing. I would take back Knock off Faith, and I would have a Tsukiyomi knock line if I wanted to use that. I could see merits to using Duo here. However, will he be that aggressive if he draws the Thunder Dragon? I can't say that for certain. It's certainly possible he will, possible he won't. Yeah, I just decided to go for Faith. Pass. He sets a back row, I draw Snatch. So heavy is gone. I could potentially just go for like set Snatch here to make sure that the Faith, to make sure that my Sook doesn't get dust shooted. And I definitely did forget about this in game, so this is like reviewing afterwards. In game, I kind of just like I said, I forgot about dust shoot really. And considering he's halfway into his deck, there's a good shot that this is a dust shoot if he plays like 3 of them. So this was another small error. He dust shoots away the Sook. Now I have to think. Well, I definitely have to use Nobleman, because if I don't, he's able to just swing Serpent into my Faith for a technical +1. And I would rather not have that happen. Additionally, dealing 300 here with Faith is actually somewhat relevant, because that would put him on 2100, and he knows I have Snatch for his Chaos Sorcerer. And then another option, another thing to consider was whether I wanted to summon Serp and deal 600, putting him on a 4-turn clock. Obviously very unlikely that that's ever going to go through. Other benefits to that line, it would put him on 18. If he were to like brick next turn and I draw Spy or Thunder Dragon, that would be enough for game. Yeah, that would be it. And benefits to keeping it in hand are like all my Regeki breaks will be good, my Graceful. Also, if I have Serp on field and he were to be able to summon his Sorcerer next turn, he can banish my Serp, which I don't necessarily want, and then he'll like maybe tribute set Thunder Dragon. Regardless, these plays don't matter much, but they are the small things that you have to think about in game and really debate on which one is like marginally better. And it's really tough to say. Like, it's really tough to say which line is best here. I choose this line. I think I would be fine using both lines. So he does draw his Thunder Dragon. He thinks about it long and hard here. He knows I have Snatch. He goes for priority to banish the Faith. He doesn't know my back row, so in his eyes this could be any real trap card. It could be Regeki Break, Obviously I didn't set SERP, so if I had set SERP, it kind of reveals that this is not Regeki Break actually. So that's one thing to think about. This could be Mirror Force. What else could it be? Not much else actually. Just Mirror Force, Regeki Break, or a Bluff. MST? No, not MST, because I would have used that. So he tribute sets the Thunder Dragon. My only line here is set Serpent Pass. Obviously, no reason for me to knock the Thunder Dragon. He sets a back row passes. I draw Spy, set Spy Pass. He draws into Graceful. Discards Thunder Dragon Dust Shoot, sets a back row. I draw Upstart. So I did see Solemn game 1. So it's obviously I have a game shot here. I can go flip Spy, grab Spy, use knock on his Thunder Dragon, swing for 24. That's game. And his Mirror Force is gone. So if he doesn't use Torrential on the summon of Spies, he would die. Yeah, I decided that was definitely worth it, even if he Solemns. Where does he actually go from there? He still can't flip Thunder Dragon to attack because I have Snatch. Yeah. And I can't use Upstart beforehand because that would give him over 2400 and also over 2700 if I wanted to flip SERP. So I have to do it this way. So he does have the Solemn. And now I have to consider whether I want to use Upstart. And the answer is definitely yes, because I still have 3 Thunder Dragons to draw. I have a lot of good stuff, in fact. Mainly the 3 Thunder Dragons. Those are like the best draw from this, because then I would be able to tribute the SERP. I don't find Thunder Dragon, instead I find Regeki Break. It's definitely going to be good to set this Regeki Break. Remember, Heavy's gone. There is another option to like swing into Thunder Dragon to force it face up. And then I have Snatch for that. However, I don't think that's good. And the reason for that is because once his Thunder Dragon's face up, he'll be able to just swing into my Spy. And sure, he'll probably still lose, but if he has some way to protect himself, then it'll be bad for me. So I'm going to set just Regeki Break and end turn. I decided to hold Duo. Yeah, I don't really see a reason to use the Duo. If his hand is like a Chaos Monster, he'll just lose to my Snatch. So he can't really summon Chaos. Okay, now what? I definitely want to swing into the set monster, because if it's something that'll put his hand to 2, I get the full value off Duo. So I'm just going to go ahead and swing into that. No reason to put Spy in defense immediately, because Mirror Force is gone. It's another Spy, and he doesn't have any more in deck. So main phase 2, just Spy to defense, set Jar, pass. Looks good to me. Again, really just not many reasons to use the Duo. This is back-to-back games with this now? Or am I thinking of the same game, actually? Yeah, it's the same game. Anyway, I draw Thunder Dragon for turn. I decide I'm going to use the Jar of Greed, play into potential Dust Shoot. But if I draw something that I really don't want Dust Shooted away, like BLS, I'll simply just pitch a Thunder Dragon for priority, or I'll potentially decide to just Regeki Break something with priority. I draw Mind Con. So play here is going to be very obvious. I'm going to tribute for Thunder Dragon, checking for Torrential. Alright, so I decide to duo first, just in case he's got Wing Blast. If you want to use it now, here's your chance. Just because that's one of the cards that could stop my OTK that's coming. If you want a Torrential, you gotta do it now. I'll still be okay if you Torrential. I still have all my Chaos. He does not. I now have to use Snatch on Spy. If you want to stop this, you have to do it now, because I'm going to put the Spy in attack mode immediately once it gets to my field. He does not. I immediately put it to attack mode so that if he were to somehow have MST, it would come back to him in attack position. And finally, I'm going to use Mind Control. Mirror Force is in graveyard, so what can he possibly do to stop this OTK? There is nothing, except for return from the different dimension, which there's no way he plays. And he would still lose anyway. If he were to have MST now, I would still win with enough damage anyway. And that's it. That's the match. I don't think I have anything else to say about that. I think it was pretty well played. There was a couple potential small errors that we saw, but obviously very marginal they were. Alright, thanks for watching. Not sure when my next video will be, but keep a lookout.